Ah, yes. Where is the year gone to? We're talking mid-September 2014. It's the 15th of September 2014. This is the Dog. Weber this week is on the air live. Today, Steve Brewer and Sean Davis join us talking about a Paracon Convention. We're talking about some things that I got to admit I was never a believer, but I am now. I'll talk about my experiences, but it's good morning to you all. Hope you had a great weekend, and the weather changing, going to be like 65, 68 degrees the rest of the week. Possible, maybe a couple of showers, but nothing too serious. So we're kind of like into, I guess, autumn type of weather, which is a little bit too quick for me, but I guess it's okay. It is what it is. So, and compared to some other places in this country with the weather, I'll take Finger Lakes weather anytime. Good morning, folks. Hope you had a good weekend. Gentlemen, good morning to you. Steve Brewer, the chairman of the good old convention, which is the Paracon Convention. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And Sean Davis, thank you for joining us as well.
Oh, thanks for having me, too.
No problem. First off, let's talk a little bit about your backgrounds. Steve, talk a little bit about yourself. Where do you live? And what got you involved in this fascinating field?
Well, I could talk about myself forever, but...
The show's only 30.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
So, briefly, I was born here in St. Falls.
Okay.
Born and raised in St. Falls and Auburn. Splitting my time. So, I live over in Auburn. I grew up in a few haunted houses, which got me interested in the paranormal.
Nice.
One of which was here in town, my old family house. So,
Nice.
It's a fun field to get into.
Oh, I can imagine. And Sean, yourself, where do you live?
I live in Auburn, New York.
Okay.
Lived there my whole life. I got interested in this. It's kind of funny. We were over at the outlet mall.
Okay.
And we seen a little flyer about a place in it's called Rolling Hills. That's up in East Bethany, New York.
Okay.
So a bunch of us went up there, and it's a ghost hunting, and it's open to the public. So when I went up there, we did a little hunting. Ever since then, I've just been interested in it.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you know, just so you know, folks, the Finger Lakes Paracon is a paranormal convention that is showcasing local ghost hunting teams, psychics, mediums, Bigfoot researchers, UFO investigators, palm readers, tarot readers, and I'll talk about my experience with a tarot reader. And it's to me, I'll be honest with you, I'm 69.4 years, I guess, I don't know, 70 next April, if God willing will have me still on the earth. I have to be honest with you, I never was a believer in that kinds of things. I never believed in hypnosis. I never believed in any of that stuff. But two quick stories I talked to you about before the air. If the dog can be a believer, I'm sure you can too. Years ago at a sales convention for Goulds, where I was been a member for 44 years before retiring in 2007, sales meetings, they used to do it up right. We'd either go to Vegas or West Palm Beach, not a bad trip to make every year. But one of the things they did is they used to have a some sort of entertainment at night. And they had somebody who specializes in hypnosis, who was extremely good at it. And I luckily got, or unluckily got, picked from the crowd to come up on stage. And I'll tell you right now, I smiled when I got picked, because I said, there's no way I'm going to believe this. Well, the old clock doing this maneuver, whatever they did. Folks, I want to tell you, maybe 20 years ago, so I must have been, 50? And all of a sudden, Jim's going to love this, I totally was, they say, according to the crowd, that I was no clue was on stage. I was in Las Vegas, whether I was in Dubuque, Iowa. Whatever he did, I was totally at his mercy. And to further prove my point, during the hypnosis, in the heat of the battle, when I was totally at his mercy, according to the people in the crowd, and I had it substantiated when I left the stage, he pulled up my shirt. Of course, I didn't feel a thing, and they put an ice pack on my back, literally on stage. And to this day, September 15, 2014, I will swear on a Bible that I did not feel one thing. And it was pretty amazing to me that really took place. So I was a believer. Now I am a big believer in hypnosis. And the other quick story that I could share to prove the point that, hey, you may be a disbeliever watching this show and say, I don't buy that stuff. Well, I was up in, I don't know, Adirondacks, Alexandria Bay. We were vacationing, my wife and myself, and she's a shopaholic. You all know my wife, Mary. She goes store to store to store to store. Every store. If she had Donald Trump money, she'd be there right now. Up and down the street, one after another, and I never shop. I don't like shopping. I go in If I was to buy some from Steve and Sean, it would take 3 seconds. Where's the suits? Pick it out. Give you the money. Goodbye. That's it. I'm not going to waste my time going around stores. It just blows my mind. People waste their time. Women love to shop. My wife's a shopaholic. So I saw behind me a sign that said tarot reader on $7. I remember $7. And I walked in. I thought, yeah, I'll kill a few minutes here. And she read cards. And I'm telling you, folks, it just blew me away. She knew that I was, she said, you're one of three boys. You're the youngest, which I am. You also suffered a severe injury back when you were under 10. It happened when I was 7. It affected your right eye. I got hit with a stick. Long story short, she knew everything about me. She knew my mother had a unique name. My mom's passed, and she's up in heaven probably smiling. Her name was Brida. That's a very unique name. So my point is, with the tarot reader and also the fact that hypnosis, I truly believe. And I guess Steve and Sean, talk a little bit about some of your friends that maybe not believed in all this stuff until they convinced otherwise. It happens.
It happens a lot.
It's
actually.
amazing.
Well, we had a few. We're part of a ghost hunting team based in Auburn,
right?
And we had a few people join the team, not believe at all.
Not believe.
No, until we played them some of the evidence we found it in the investigations, or they experienced something. We had a flower pot thrown at someone out in Jordan, New York. Yeah. First investigation out. Poor guy, he was kind of petrified after that. Mm-hmm. So we've seen skeptics go to believers in the course of one investigation, which is about 4 hours. So
pretty amazing. Sean, you obviously got some stories too, right?
Oh yeah, we got a lot of stories. I mean, the flower pot one is the one that's probably the best story. I was there with the guy. We were just starting to train him, and we went upstairs, and next thing you know, this thing went just hurled right at us.
Wow.
And I just stood there and like, wow.
Well, this is your first annual, correct? And you were talking about putting this Paracon. Steve Brewer, Sean Davis are with us on the couch this morning here on Weber This Week. So this is your first one, and you said it became a reality to put it together because you had friends of yours that were in this, and they wanted to maybe expand the theory and get other people from the local area, not even local area, but from anywhere to come in and be a part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I have a lot of friends in the field. I network a lot, especially at various events we do. I talk to all the teams in the area, so when I first had the idea, I'm like, well, let's just see what my friends think. And I emailed them. They're like, see if you do it, I'm part of it. Just flat out. Yeah. I'm like, okay, easy enough. So I'm like, let's show the public what we do.
And Sean, as far as booking, you had to book a facility for it. Mm-hmm. So you got the beautiful Hilton Garden Inn in Auburn.
Right.
Certainly, right now, give us the breakdown as far as when it's going to be held and what the cost will be involved.
Well, we're doing a fundraiser on the 26th at Palmyra. It's at the historic Palmyra out there.
Okay.
That's $10 for adults.
All right.
And it's free for kids, but they have to be with a parent or guardian. That's basically they get to go on a ghost hunting tour of the location. They go with one of our friends.
And that place is really, it's the real deal. It's a lot of fun there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Every time we've gone there, we found evidence. It's going to be, the museum director is awesome out there, Bonnie.
She's a real nice lady. Yeah.
So it's a good cause for that, too. And then that's the 26th. It starts at 6 out there. And then the Paracon itself is noon to 8 on the 27th at the Hilton Garden Inn. It's $10 for adults again, free for kids, but they have to be with a parent or guardian. So
now, I'm assuming by booking the Hilton Garden Inn, it's costing you money to rent that place.
Oh, yeah.
So to come up with a revenue, you're talking about the attendance money,
yes,
getting people to come through the turnstiles, I assume, and also donations from other people to kickstart this?
Actually,
are you guys in a negative as far as, because I'm assuming they're going to charge you to have this convention there.
Right.
Okay.
Right now we're a little bit in the hole.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And you chose the Hilton Garden Inn because of it's a nice facility. I've been there.
Right.
It's very nice.
That, and it's a good location. It's right on 5 and 20 in Auburn.
Oh, sure. Very familiar with it.
And it's right off of 34, which comes down from Thruway.
So people come right down. It's easy to get to.
Okay. So the support you've gotten so far is pretty overwhelming as far as you think you're going to have a nice crowd.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
And right now we're doing ticket giveaways through our team's website, too, on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So if you want to check that out too. It's Upstate Paranormal Society. So.
Okay. Well, interesting. Steve Brewer and Sean Davis are going to talk more about their experiences, and we're going to talk about, when there's a major crime, big-time murder scene, a lot of the people that are the mediums and so forth get involved, and there's been a pretty good track record of them developing leads to eventually finding the culprits. So, I don't have to tell you about CSI and stuff, but this truly, they bring in people to find lost people, and over the years I've read and seen a lot of movies regarding that, so I'm a believer, folks. So Steve Brewer and Sean Davis are with us today. They're talking about the Paracon Convention, the very first annual, going to be held at the Hilton Garden Inn in Auburn, New York, which I've been at many times, a beautiful facility. So we'll talk more about that, but let's take a break and hear from the great sponsors that make this show possible. Finger Lakes National Bank. Bill Ryan and his team for all of your banking needs. Offices in Union Springs and Aurora. A fine sponsor of this show for over 30 years. DA Liquor, Seneca Falls. Amy Padula and her great team will find that right spirit for you every time. Tell Amy the dog sent you. Steve Wadhams, Wadhams Enterprises, your employer of choice. Proud supporter of this show and local athletics. Bob and Leslie Oman, owners of the Oman Theater in Lions, as well as the Newark Pilots, a minor league baseball team with a major league ballpark. Lizard's Tailgater Lounge, Waterloo, best mott sticks around, where you can enjoy a drink and some laughs. SenecaFallsCountryClub.com, awesome 18-hole layout, offering a 12-month payment plan. Home of the toughest par 4 in Central New York. Wilson Press, WPress.com. Seneca Falls. Rich Ricky, my good friend, and his team can handle all of your printing and mailing needs. Rich Ricky, Wilson Press, a fine sponsor of Weber This Week. Well, we're back on This is Dog with you, Weber This Week on a Monday the 15th of September, folks. Just to give you a quick reminder, next couple of weeks we have our guest booked. We're going to be talking to a local boy that's made good. He's a PGA professional, Kevin Nicholson, fine athlete, Seneca Falls guy. By the way, I just saw his parents walking down Fall Street doing their morning exercise. We'll be via phone with Kevin, find out about his career, where it's taken him, how he ended up in Pennsylvania. And again, he's an outstanding golf pro. We'll look forward to that interview. That'll be via phone next week out of Pennsylvania here on the show. Then the following week, we bring in Rod Verke, need no introduction. Rod Verke, of course, involved with his committee putting on yet another edition of the Miners Academy Hall of Fame. Of course, Rod and his great team, Ted Novak, and a host of others, Liz Beck. There's tons of people that are involved in this. Each year they induct athletes that have, in their mind, done enough as far as their resume to be inducted into Miners Academy Hall of Fame, which, by the way, I graduated, and my name is yet to be called, but I'm hoping the next 20 years. No, just kidding. Rod Verke will be here on the 29th on the couch talking about this year's inductees, and that's always a good show, as his event will be in October. So without further ado, we bring back Steve Brewer along with Sean Davis and Jimmy Senecropi. Jimmy, you had a couple questions?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned off the top that one of the things that got you interested was, childhood home growing up. What exactly, could you explain some of the instances that happened there that got you interested?
Well, I grew up in 2 different haunted houses, so I'm going to guess you're meaning the one here in St. Falls, or does it?
Yeah. Oh, either one, yeah. I want to hear about them all.
Well, I actually lived in my grandfather's house here in St. Falls over on Minders Street.
Sure.
And he used to smoke a pipe. Uh-huh. And he passed away when I was 6, a number of years ago now. But
yeah.
And after he passed away, we moved in, and every so often we would smell his pipe, just the smell of that very distinct pipe.
Oh, yeah.
And you just stop and just think, is that Grandpa with us right now? I mean, it happened to me and my family. It had been to my cousin from my mother's side. So he's like, who's smoking a pipe? I'm like, oh, you don't know, do you? He's like, no. I'm like, that was my grandfather from my dad's side. So the other house, my sister did a seance in when I was, I think, 5. And she brought something in. It wasn't very nice. You could see things move, like just objects move across the table.
Oh my, yeah.
Doors would slam shut. Things would be turned on and off. It was just crazy activity. I just remember sitting up in my room at night just watching shadows go across the wall. There's no lights moving, nothing. And I'm just like, that's not right. So when I grew up, I just kind of started researching it, and it got me into the ghost hunting, which led me to meet Davis. So
Yeah.
Were you petrified when this stuff was happening, or were you more like relaxed and just observing it?
I didn't really understand what was going on, so I wasn't really scared. It was just kind of, that's, I can't quite pin that down. Like, I don't know what's going on. So it was creepy, but at the same time, I wasn't really scared. But it was something my mom had to deal with through White Witch, I believe she said it was. And they got rid of whatever was there. So it was, looking back, it was freaky, but when I was going through, I was like, that's just not right. It wasn't really freaky.
Not normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Sean? Any of your personal experiences?
Just like you said, first time I went to the place in East Bethany, I had some personal experiences there. Had a door slam and all that stuff, and that's how I got really into it and all that. And my wife just did a psychic party a month ago, and we had the psychic. We asked her a question: "Is anybody, in the house and all that?" But we want to tell her that we've been seeing some shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, "Yeah, there's an older gentleman and an older woman." And I'm like, and she goes, and she came up with these names, and come to find out they're my grandparents. And for a while, we kept on seeing this stuff. So, yeah, that's...
Well, I certainly, to my point before the commercial break, I think on unsolved murders, lost people that are lost and just disappear off the face of the earth, they bring in the mediums, and they bring in those folks many times in the history of law enforcement, and many times they're successful in finding out where the body is or where the person still is. So there is a track record of them. And if they were phony, and if they thought they were ridiculous and all put on and all show and no substance, I don't think our police people would bother bringing them in. But I know in many cases they have done that. And you guys probably can speak to that, right? A lot of times.
A few of our friends have been brought in on various cases.
Sure.
There's always cons out there. There's always people who fake it, and so they get weeded out pretty easily. But we've met the real deal quite a few times.
Yeah, how many, you guys certainly know your background and your craft, as per se. You must, when you run across somebody who starts speaking of certain topics and certain, you know if they're phony or not, if they really truly are.
Yeah.
Talent in this area, really?
Yeah, it stands right out. You can
quickly point it out.
Yeah, we can.
And I guess it's nothing sacred about Paracon relative to this type of work and this type of ability that you guys who know this can distinguish whether or not, yeah, you just a wannabe, right? Instead of being the real thing. Well, I from personal experience, I had, like I said, the two things happened to me, and I never believed it's possible because I've always been a negative guy relative to that, thinking, oh, yeah, sure. Give me a Rod Serling and Alfred Hitchcock. Are you kidding me? You talked about the creaky doors. Hitchcock made millions putting on these shows, and I was always a Rod Serling fan way back when. I love that. But hey, it's interesting. It's fascinating to me, and I urge all of you checking us out this morning on the show that if you'd like to meet their colleagues, meet the people that are in this various craft and this various different segments. And let's run down again all the different folks that specialize in what. Go ahead, Steve. Tell us a little bit about exactly what you'll be seeing if you come in and be a part of this.
You'll be seeing ghost hunters, basically people who do what me and Davis do. We go into haunted houses, look for answers for the owners. Psychics, mediums, people who see the future, past, communicate with spirits. I can tell you the palm reader I have is very good. When I first sat down with her, she asked me if I wanted a reading, and I said, no, I'm fine, She's like, just give me your hand. I'm like, okay, here it is. And she looks at it, she goes, I'm like, oh. I'm like, what is it? Am I doomed or something? And she's like, oh, no, honey, but when was the relationship?
What's that?
She goes, when was the relationship? I was like, it ended like a month ago. She's like, oh, honey. I'm like, what? Can you just tell me what's going on? She's like, you knew it wasn't going to be meant to be. I was like, how did you know? She's like, it's all right here, honey. And she went into details with things. I'm like, okay, you can stop now. So she's pretty good. The tarot reader, if I can talk, you got us ghost hunters up before noon, unnatural. So, but the tarot reader we know pretty well. She's pretty good too. We did have a Bigfoot team coming, but because of work, they can't come. Sort of all of our lives, I'm sure you can say. We have a UFO guy coming to talk about that stuff too. We have everything that anyone could possibly want when they're looking into this field. So if you want to learn about it, definitely come out and take a look.
And again, let's talk about where it's going to be and run that fundraiser again and the cost and so forth if they want to be a part of the convention.
The fundraiser is at 132 Market Street in Palmyra. It's $10 for adults. That gets you in for an hour tour, an hour ghost hunt. The convention itself is at the Hilton Garden Inn. It's 12 to 8 on Saturday the 27th, 12 to 6 on Sunday the 28th. It's $10 for adults, free for kids, but they have to be with the parent or guardian because I don't babysit, unfortunately.
That's right.
And it's going to be a fun time, so we encourage anyone who's interested in it, anyone who's seen a TV show who wants to see local people. And that's what we're going with is local talent.
Yeah, it's all local talent, all upstate people. So
we have teams coming from Albany through Buffalo and all points between. So,
what do you think of some of the TV shows that are out there? Like, there's one in particular. I don't know. I can't even think of the name of it, but it just seems like it's a scam. Kind of a scam. Like, there's nothing to it. They just constantly run around and get scared and run away in the night vision, and they never really see anything except for these, distant maybe sounds that they interpret to be something paranormal.
I think I know what one you're talking about, but the TV shows you have to remember they boil 8-hour investigations down to 30 minutes. So there's just a lot of times where we're just sitting on the couches just like this. Is there anyone here with us right now?
Yeah.
Anything?
There's sometimes we go, we don't catch nothing. We tell the homeowners nothing happened. It doesn't happen on cue. Ghosts just don't come out and go,
right.
Boo, they're
I'm
here.
here.
I'm here. Sometimes they don't do it.
It's not people in white sheets coming around a corner going, boo. It really isn't. There's a lot more work to it than they show too. Like an 8-hour investigation, if you use 2 audio recorders, you have to listen to 16 hours of audio.
Right.
They don't show that. Yeah. Obviously, they just skip to the part where they show the good stuff.
And people can understand TV, they hype it up more too.
Oh, sure.
It's for the ratings.
Yeah.
That's why you always get what was that? And they go to commercial and they come back, oh, that was just Tim over there.
Yeah, exactly.
There's always that, and I hate that about the shows. Like, as soon as they do that, change the channel and come back to it.
Yeah.
Well, Steve Brewer has been with us, the chairman of the first annual Paracon Convention, which will be held at the Hilton Garden in Auburn, New York, on the weekend of September 27th and 28th. And, of course, you mentioned the fundraiser. Since you two guys are here, how about throwing out some names that have been helping you put this thing together? Got some people you'd like to publicize and credit?
Well, I would like to thank Bonnie Hayes at the Palmyra Museum.
Okay.
Michelle Renslow with White Light Research. She's going to be helping with that out there for those who are going out to Palmyra. You'll be meeting Miss Michelle. The Hilton Garden Inn.
Yeah, they've been fantastic.
Rita and Jessica with them. They've been awesome. They've been working with me. I've changed my ideas a few times, and they walked me through the process each time. So the palm reader's Amy Ancrum. She's pretty good. She's helped me along with the process. So there's a lot of people who've helped me along that I can go on and on about. I'd like to thank everyone who's helped me. So just to save some time in the show.
Sure. Well,
and
what would you guys say is the top 4 or 5 haunted places in the Finger Lakes region that you're convinced are without a doubt, haunted? Well,
the first one's probably going to be Palmyra.
Yeah.
I mean, Palmyra, we've always caught stuff at. We've always experienced things at. It's $30 to do a ghost hunt out there. All the proceeds go to the museum. So if anyone's interested, definitely check that out. The next one, probably Rolling Hills Asylum.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little further out west. It's Bethany.
It's just outside Batavia.
Okay.
Yeah.
That place, I've taken a few friends to, and they've sworn up and down they've experienced this, and they can go on all day too. The third, what would you say the third would be? Probably the St. Paul Historical Society.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that's the one a lot of people here in town
Yeah.
talk about.
We investigated that a few times a few years ago, and each time we came out with evidence. So I wouldn't be able to pin down a fourth one just because it would be like private residence, and we can't really go into details.
What about that place in Elbridge?
The Wayside Inn?
Yeah,
Wayside
that's
Inn.
one you hear a lot about.
Yeah, we've been there several times. We've caught some interesting things there.
Yeah, the first time we went there, we didn't really catch anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so it was kind of iffy for us, but we went back a few times, and it's a pretty interesting place to check out, too.
Well, it's an interesting topic. Of course, we're almost out of time. As usual on this show, it goes so fast. It's almost 4 minutes to 10. Steve Brewer, the chairman, the Paracon first annual convention. Hopefully it'll have more than one, so the support from you is certainly needed. It's interesting stuff. Again, I hope to get over there and pay a visit as well. I think several years ago I probably thought, this. But again, my two experiences, I'm convinced that there's something out there that is kind of bizarre, and I can't put my finger on it. But if I can be convinced that certain things do happen, and believe me, anybody can. So, again, if you'd like to be a part of it, let's talk about this again. The Paracon is going to be held at the Event Center at the beautiful Hilton Garden Inn in Auburn, New York, from noon to 8 o'clock on September 27th. And from 12 to 6 on September 28th. I'm a member. It's $10 for entry. It's free for kids as long as the kids are accompanied by an adult. Steve and Sean are not going to be babysitting clinic that day, so they got a lot on their mind, a lot on their plate. So if you want to come with a kid, the kid gets in for free, but he better be with an adult, right?
Right.
I like it. Well, gentlemen, thanks for spending some time with us this morning, and our best wishes to you, and let us know how it turned out.
Oh, thank you.
Of course.
All right, so Steve Brewer and Sean Davis joining us here. A couple of notes in the world of sports. I know Jimmy's got a smile after the Chippewas of Central Michigan who ran over Purdue, and all of a sudden SU found themselves going to Central Michigan, taking on the Chippewas. I'll tell you what, Jimmy, it was impressive. The Orange really looked impressive. I watched most of it going back and forth doing some stuff, but 2-0, now they come back home to take on Maryland. You got to be quite pleased.
Yeah, nice win on the road, and everybody was upset after struggling with Villanova in a game they really should have lost. But remember, we didn't have our quarterback, and anybody that watched the game Saturday saw that Terrell Hunt was, he makes that offense go. And also we saw a lot of young players, especially in the receiving corps for Syracuse. And the running backs, Syracuse had 5 running backs that touched the ball over 6 times, and so they're pretty deep, which is good heading into a season. And then you see a lot of crazy things happen, like Boston College beating USC and East Carolina beating Virginia Tech. And I've told this to people that want to talk Syracuse football. I said, we can win the ACC. We can go to the college football playoffs. Well, we're 2-0, so let's keep it rolling.
Let's keep it rolling. You take one game at a time. Syracuse now takes on Maryland at home this coming Saturday. What time's the game, Jimmy? You know all
I
that
think
stuff?
it's at 12:30, but I'm not
12:30.
positive.
All right, well, the Terps come into town to take on Syracuse. Orangemen 2-0. Of course, the Bills, who I've been bad-mouthing since I was 12 years old. Hey, could this be Super Bowl Bills? They're 2-0. They look very impressive. Of course, Miami has a history of coming to Buffalo and not playing very well. They proved that again yesterday. Buffalo, give them credit. Spiller, that long kickoff return, phenomenal. They look like they're on all 4 cylinders. Now they have San Diego coming to town this coming week at Buffalo. How about Seattle? I have a friend that says the fix factor is in the NFL because there's so much money bet, billions of dollars every week. Seattle looked like world beaters, crushing Green Bay a week ago at home for the opening of the NFL season. Yesterday, they lose to San Diego. You figure it out. The Jets lead 21-3 on the road against Green Bay. They're coasting, major upset. The line was 8 points. The Jets were getting 8. All of a sudden, are you serious? The Jets lose that game only by 7. So if you bet the Jets, you still collect your money. My point is, how about that play when they threw the touchdown pass to tie the game at 31-all? And to this minute, I checked it out this morning. Nobody's taking blame for calling the timeout.
Was the offensive coordinator, but
and
he's not allowed
supposed to give it.
So the ref shouldn't have given it.
They shouldn't have. And this guy, Geno Smith, throws in the end zone. Great catch. Touchdown. Game tied. Oh, wait a minute. A timeout. They blew the whistle. Play didn't count. It was amazing. A lot of weird things happening in NFL yesterday.
Including the Bears
how about
beating the
Bears?
49ers. Yeah,
I fell asleep.
down.
I fell asleep. They were losing big time. They ended up winning 28-20.
3 touchdowns from Brandon Marshall.
So you figure it out, folks. The crazy NFL. And as Sean mentioned on the couch, that he's a big college fan. If you love football, I agree with you. How about Notre Dame? They're 17-14 at halftime against Purdue. And they end up winning 30-14, so they kept them, shut them out in the second half.
They get Syracuse in 2 weeks in the Meadowlands.
There you go. So it's going to be interesting. A lot of things happening. If you're in the world of golf, Billy Horschel, who did nothing for the first 10 months of the PGA season, absolutely nothing. He catches fire at the right time for these playoffs. And what do you do? When, let's see,
$13 million over the past 4 weeks.
Nice. $13 million. All right, that's Steve Brewer money. He's on the couch. No, he just passed out. $13 million. I mean, if you got a young child, girl or guy, 6 or 7 years old, maybe 5, get a small club, small golf club, and get them in the backyard. Start hitting that golf ball. Because I'm telling you, folks, if you get to be real good at that sport, you can make a fortune. Oh, yeah. And by the way, the PGA season is finally over, but it starts up in a month. They have this crossover. They start this year and go, the new season starts mid-October. The Fry's open. So you got a month. Oh, by the way, the Ryder Cup, Jimmy's coming up in a couple of weeks.
That's always a lot of fun.
Always a lot of fun. Are we ever going to beat those Euros?
No, we're 2 in a row we lost.
Oh, we got crushed like 7 out of the last 8.
And now we got to go to Scotland. Yeah. And Billy Horschel isn't on the team.
No, isn't on the team.
Yeah.
So you talk about intensity. If you really like to watch countries go berserk and the fans come from all over the world to watch the Ryder Cup, it's pretty amazing. We can't beat Europe right now, folks. I think we've lost 7 out of 8. They just own us. So it's country pride. And by the way, speaking of pride, Jimmy, that I don't know, that basketball championship, I spent 0 time watching it. Coach K down there in Duke.
Yeah, if it's the
average
Boeheim,
winning score 33 points.
Yeah. If it's not the Olympics, nobody cares really about these world championships of basketball. So.
Well, I want to thank Steve Brewer from the Paracon, along with Sean Davis, being on the couch talking about their big convention. Check it out, folks. The September 27th and 28th. It should be a lot of fun. All right, we'll catch you next week, folks. We got Kevin Nicholson via phone talking about him as a PGA golf professional. Local boy, does very well. Then the following week, we have Rod Verke talking about the new inductees for the Minders Academy Hall of Fame. You enjoy your week, everybody. Take care. The weather's supposed to be spectacular. That's a look at sports my way.
By becoming a patron of FingerLakes1.com. Visit patreon.com/FL1.
FingerLakes1.com